3, 2. Hello, hi everyone. Welcome back to Lotus Chat Worldwide. And this week we have episode 27, Powerfully Living with Purpose. So before we get into our topic of purpose, I would like to also introduce the purpose of having Lotus Chat Worldwide is really to empower women collectively. And here we are today. I'm ZN and we have
Laura. Hello, ladies. I'm so glad to be here with you tonight, and I'm thrilled to be here with you, Zian, always.
Yes, me too. We missed you.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I've had a couple of weeks of rest and relaxation, so I'm back fully invigorated.
I'm so happy to hear that. So let's dive into the topic of purpose. So what do you think is purpose? And, how do we find out what's our purpose?
Zian, I think that's a deeper question. We talk a lot in our society about our purpose, and we usually look at how much do we make? Are we in a long-term relationship? Do we have the nicest house on the neighborhood? And we look to outside measurements to determine what our purpose is. And that is a matrix of the outside. It's usually something that's in our head. And something that I've learned through the years is our purpose is really what is our heart or our soul telling us that our gifts are. And those gifts, when we give them freely to others through our actions, through our love, through our joy, through whatever it is that we do, that is our purpose in supporting others, helping others, enlightening and encouraging others. I think that's what our purpose is. When we use our gifts and we give back, that's where we know that we've accomplished something.
Yes, I love that.
So many people who have money who aren't happy. They're just always looking for more. And I'm not saying having money isn't a good thing, but what I'm saying is that's not our life purpose. How about you, Zian? What do you think?
Yeah, what I'm hearing a lot from you is that purpose is from our heart rather than from our mind. And I think purpose is a lot about focusing out on, the community, the people around you, rather than focusing on me, myself, and I. What do I want? What's going to make me comfortable?
Yeah.
And yeah, I think a lot of times when we really exercise our purpose, it may not necessarily be extremely comfortable. I mean, the most convenient, I think, but I think it's something that is beyond that, is more fulfilling in that sense.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. So to all the listeners out there, what do you think? How do we figure out our purpose? It sounds like so big, this word purpose. How do we figure it out?
I think we have to, first of all, calm ourselves on the inside. So I just want to share with you, I live in California. For those of you who don't live in California, California is a busy place. We go a million miles an hour, and we can accomplish more than anybody else. And I went to Hawaii for vacation. And for those of you that have been there, that's a very calming place. Took me 3 days to relax enough to enjoy it, because I was just like this. I was ready to go. I think it's the same way with our life purpose. We have to be quiet and still enough in our hearts to say, what is it that makes me feel that I'm contributing? What makes me feel I am the best version of myself? What gifts do I truly have that I can convey to others to support them, love them, help them, and be an encouragement to them? We're not going to get that if we're in our head thinking about all the things we have to do and creating lists. I know you love lists, Zian, but and that's a good thing. We all need lists. I need lists, but I think honestly we have to slow down long enough to say, what is it in my heart that I feel I do right, that I do well, that I'm driven to do, that feels like I'm in alignment? That is our purpose. And I think when we slow down long enough to feel it, it comes. How about you? What are your thoughts on that, Zian?
I do think that in the progress of finding your purpose, it comes a lot from our pain. What is it that we kind of quote unquote suffer from, but I'm trying to think of a better word than suffering, but it's more like what were our life experiences, what hurts us the most, because I think when we are contributing in that sense,
Right.
we, in a way, we are healing
Yes.
the pain inside as well. So hence it's very fulfilling and it produces a lot of satisfaction when we're doing that. And I think also that, you know, this word purpose is so big. Like, I mean, if you are listening to this and you're kind of wondering, like, what is my purpose? Maybe instead of putting this huge word purpose, it's more of a direction, because in order for you to find a purpose, I think there needs to be a phase of exploration, because you don't know what is your purpose until you actually you know, do some volunteer work, do some focusing out work, and like you say, do some inner work in order to, you know, focus out. You need to keep exploring. What do you really find most fulfilling in that sense?
Oh, I love that. I think you're right. I think when we have life experiences that affect us, it makes us, if it makes us softer and gentler and we learn from it, it's a huge experience that we can carry with us to help others. It's when we grow bitter and hardened that we lose that sense of purpose. I love that. Thank you for bringing that to us.
Yeah. And what does it feel like for you, Laura, when you live with purpose?
I used to hear people tell me that when you live in alignment, it's the goal. But I never could understand what living in alignment felt like. I'm a feeler, so I'm like, what does that feel like? How do I know if I'm in alignment?
Yeah.
Well, I can share with you, for me, living in alignment means that things on the outside don't necessarily go well. I'm not saying things are wonderful, but our inside spirit is at peace. Our inside spirit is flowing and letting things flow through us. We're processing things, we're not hiding it or stuffing it in. And life feels as it should be. I think that's how we know we're living our life purpose, when we're passionate about what we're doing and we're giving to others, and it feels so good and it feels so right. That's what I believe it is. What do you think?
I agree with you, and I think that when you are living with purpose, it feels a huge amount of satisfaction. Like you reminded me of a story that I wanted to share. Last weekend, I did my first training with a group of students who live in the orphanage, and I got to be honest, because my core nature is I'm a very introvert and shy girl, but the nature of my job requires me to be, you know, kind of out there and extrovert and doing this sort of work. And at the get-go, I did felt like, oh my God, like me standing in front of 30 students, you know, I did felt a little bit self-conscious. But as I was about to start the 2 hours training, I could feel the whole thing transform in my mind. I was no longer like thinking about me, myself, or how do I look like, or blah, blah, blah. Instead, I was focusing really, what can I contribute then to this orphanage? Like, what do they really want? And what they really wanted was teamwork. And we were like all out, you know, I was with a couple of friends, and it was really good. And that felt so much sense of fulfillment.
I love that. That is so wonderful. I can see you with those kids, giving to them and making an impact on their life.
Yeah.
I was sharing with you before we started that I think the unsung heroes are moms who really invest in their kids. And I know a lot of people are looking for their purpose, and they think, if I could just find my career, or I can find the relationship, or I can find all these things, but you are a mom. I'm learning with having a 26-year-old son that the best thing you can do is to early on invest in their lives, because you benefit. The benefits come when they're an adult, and you can see all that you invested coming forward. And I know that's a struggle for moms who have special needs kids, because you can't always see the results right away, but you're still investing in a beautiful soul. And so if you're an at-home mom or you're a full-time working mom, you're investing your life's purpose at the moment by investing yourself and your kids. And don't ever forget that. That's the most important role at the moment.
Yeah, that is so beautiful, and that is so true. Like being a parent is it's a purpose on its own, right? Because you're investing in a little life.
It is, but I have to clarify. It doesn't have to be your biological child. It can be a neighbor. It can be a friend. It can be a niece or nephew. I'm not talking about biological, although we tend to think that. But anyone you're investing in that type of relationship is going to be completely changed because of your purpose.
Yeah, and it's so true. And I think that act of mentoring or giving throughout that work, you may think that you're actually giving, but I think a lot of times we are receiving as well.
I think you're right.
Yeah. So how do others view you think, as you are living with purpose?
Okay, so I need to share a story. I don't know if any of you can see this, but it's called The Book of Awakening, and it's written by Mark Nepo. And it's kind of a daily devotional where he writes about different things. And he writes about affirming our purpose. And he talks about a woman, her name was Miriam Elkes. She told her son, she was a Holocaust victim. She was in a concentration camp. And she had a purpose every day. And she did two things. She carried a small piece of bread and she carried a broken comb with her. And every day her purpose was to give that bread crumb to someone who needed it more than she did, because she felt she was giving something precious to someone else. The second thing she did is she took the old comb and brushed her hair with it every day. And I'm kind of reading this going, that's a purpose. She was affirming herself, and it was a visual to her that she was still beautiful and that she still had something to offer and that she still was valuable. And what I got from this is we can be in pain, we can be in a horrible situation, but we're still living our life purpose. We're giving to others and they can see it and they feel it. When I'm living my purpose, people see it, they feel it, and they acknowledge it because I'm in alignment with what I'm supposed to be doing, with what my gifts are. Just like Miriam, we're not living in concentration camps, hopefully, but we're still maybe going through very hard times, or maybe we're going through something that we can't understand. But by affirming our purpose and giving to others, we're affirming that we are important in this life. And so I think others view it when we're living in our purpose, they see it and they want it and it resonates with them. How about you?
It's so true. When we make time to inspire others, we are essentially inspiring ourselves, I think. Yeah. So what is your purpose, Laura?
My purpose is to affirm, to encourage, to enlighten, to love, and to support people through the life coaching process, to help them find their purpose and help them find their way in this world, and to not allow obstacles to stop them from being who they are. That's my life purpose. What's yours, Zian?
That is so beautiful. I do find a lot of joy and satisfaction when I empower new skills to women through coaching. And also at the same time, academically, one of my really key interests is social media. So one of my wild dream is that maybe one day I will introduce social media discourse in the Malaysian school education system. Because I think it's so prevalent that there needs to be a discussion, there needs to be a conversation about social media, especially among the youth. So that's one of the things that I'm passionate about.
Oh, that's beautiful, Zian. I want to go to the first class you do, okay? I need it.
Yes.
Oh. Yeah. Okay. Anything else that you want to add before we close, Zian?
No, I'm happy, and I'm to all the listeners out there who's listening to this right now. I just really want to encourage you that as you are discovering your purpose, keep exploring, because it's not something that is, you find something on one fine day. It's something that you need to keep going and keep putting yourself out there to really discover that joy and that sense of fulfillment. That's really you, and there's no one else that could do it except for you.
Oh, well, I want the ladies who are listening to us to know that you matter and that you are valuable and that you are gifted. And don't sell yourself short or hide your light. Make sure that whatever it is you do, that you find what your purpose is and you live it to the fullest, because that's what you're meant to do. If you are watching us on YouTube, please subscribe and like and comment. If you comment, we will read it, and we would love to hear your feedback or your experiences. And please pop your question in the comments. If you are listening on Spotify, please click follow, and we welcome viewer requests. So if there's any topic you would like us to touch on, or comments, or anything you want to hear about, email us at lotuschatworldwide@gmail.com. That is lotuschatworldwide@gmail.com. Next week, we have a topic that I think you will appreciate, and that is called loneliness versus solitude. And I think that is going to be a great conversation next week, and I want you to join us. But the question I have before we go today is, what do you need to do to find your purpose? What do you need to do to find your purpose? Please drop a comment to us and let us know. We would love to hear it. Anyway, have a good evening. Thank you. Zian, it's a beautiful pleasure to work with you. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Laura. And I'll see you all next week.
Yes. Good night.
Good night.